Welcome to LonelyMan BGs. In this video, we're going to take a look at Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia, or as I like to call it, Brave New World, the game. Before we get into the actual game, we're going to need to take a look at this insane insert. This new printing of the core game includes an insert by Game Trays. The top portion is made up of 3 pieces, which lift off, revealing another insert in the bottom of the box. And if I've done the mathematical calculations just right, there's absolutely enough room for an expansion or something like that. Who knows, right? Euphoria, expansion, ignorance is bliss, it's all madness. Anyways, this is what the game looks like all set up for a 4-player game, though it can play up to 6 players and the expansion includes solitaire play for those lonely buggers. The game takes around 60 minutes to play, not including setup. The game of Euphoria takes place in a dystopic world where players are tyrannical state administrators. Euphoria is a worker placement game where workers are represented as dice. Each player starts the game with 2 workers in their queue, overdrugged and under-eager to perform labor for their brilliant overlords. The number shown on each die represents the worker's knowledge. As an intellectual despot, your goal is to keep your workers dolts so they stay in this dystopian nightmare. Otherwise, the smart ones flee and you have to train new ones, which is a huge pain in the tuchus. Let's take a quick examination of the game board. The board is divided into 4 different factions, each producing commodities and resources. First, the aristocratic Euphorians live in a city of gold and produce large swaths of energy. Next, just outside the walls of Euphoria are the Wastelanders. They produce clay from the depths of their pits and farm the earth, producing these beautiful orange fruits. Lying just below the surface is the hidden city of Subterra. The Subterrans mine for stone and plumb the depths of the earth for aquifers. High above the world exists the final faction, the frequent flyers, the Icarites, who float around high on their drug of choice, bliss. Each of these factions have spaces where players can place their workers and earn commodities, resources, and other bonuses. On a player's turn, they can do one of 2 things. First, a player may place a worker on an available space on the board. This farm is a commodity area where the player can earn these orange fruits. Depending on the total level of knowledge of all dice in the farm area, the player will gain a certain number of bonuses. In this case, the player gains an orange and also loses 1 knowledge on the knowledge chart. Let's take a quick look at said chart. There are 2 charts in the game, morale and knowledge. The knowledge track is a factor in what determines the cumulative knowledge of a player's workers. All players start the game with a knowledge level of 3, and generally you want a lower level so that your workers don't skedaddle. The second chart is the morale chart, which determines a player's hand size, and it starts at 1 for all players. The second thing a player can do is take any and all workers back from spaces on the board. Once taken, the workers are re-rolled to determine their knowledge, then placed back near the player. In order to retrieve said workers, the player will have to pay a cost, either some commodity or morale. In addition to the starting dice, each player receives 2 recruits at the beginning of the game, although only 1 is available for use. These recruits have special actions that players may use, and each recruit is also associated with a certain faction. For example, Dr. Nakagawa the Tribute is a Euphorian. His special ability allows an increase in Euphorian allegiance on the allegiance chart. The allegiance track shows each of the factions. These allegiance progress tokens move along the track. The further along the track, the stronger the faction. The stronger a faction, the more bonuses players can earn by using their facilities. The final tier allows players to place authority tokens on active recruits of that faction. We'll go over authority tokens in a moment. In order for a player to activate their second recruit, we'll need to look at tunnels. The Euphorians, Subterrans, and Wastelanders each have a tunnel that they are trying to build to gain access to another faction's commodities. Once the miners have reached the 6th space of the tunnel, players may reveal their second recruit as long as it is associated with the allegiance of the tunnel. Once the tunnel is finished, it opens up an exclusive spot for loyal players to place workers to gain commodities. Finally, authority tokens. Earlier I showed you that Euphoria is a worker placement game. Well, it's also an area influence game. Each of the factions has a star, with a number of spaces open depending on the number of players. Players begin the game with 10 authority tokens and are looking to place all 10 of them throughout the game. Certain actions and events throughout the game allow the placement of these authority tokens. Players can place them in these territory stars, on constructed markets, on recruit cards, and on ethical dilemma cards. The first player to place all 10 of their authority tokens is the winner of the game, as they have exerted their influence and gained control of the dystopia. There's lots more to this game, such as markets and ethical dilemmas and artifacts and lots of different types of worker placement spots, but we've run out of time here. If you're interested in learning more about the game, check out the links in the description. If you like this video, be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching this video on Euphoria.